Welcome once again to the Maple Grove City Report. I'm Dave Kaiser from Northwest Community Television. Thanks for being with us. I'm joined by Heidi Nelson, Maple Grove City Administrator. Welcome once again.
Thank you.
Happy New Year to you.
You as well.
We've got the first meeting of the year to talk about that was held on January 6th. There was also a meeting before that meeting and a number of things happening around the city, so we'll give you an update of that later on in the program. Let's begin on the 6th with the meeting that was before the regular council meeting. This was the closed session. Just give us a little background of what that was about.
Yeah, we're working through some of the the assessments up in the 61094 on some of the properties owned by Radisson. So we had a quick closed session to kind of review where we're at with those and get some direction from the council.
Very good, and we'll talk a little bit more about 610 a couple times throughout the meeting of the 6th. To the meeting on the 6th, as always, the beginning of the year, there's some formalities that happen. So tell us about some of the fun things at the beginning of the meeting.
Yeah, so we had the presentation of the colors by Maple Grove Boy Scout 532, and just a thank you to their troop leader, Susan Albers. She's had the boys in a couple times now, one for kind of some of their badge work and then this to help present the colors at our first meeting. So we really appreciate that. Nice group of fine young men. And then we also had the invocation by Pastor Tom Johnson from Church of the Open Door. Following that, the mayor and council have an opportunity to provide some comments about the state of the city. We do have an upcoming State of the City event at the end of February, which we'll talk about a little bit later. But I think some of the highlights that were noted certainly are kind of the expansion and growth in the med tech industry, whether it's Upshur, Boston Scientific, Abbott coming to town, a lot of other smaller companies. We have a new company that's looking for some expansion in Maple Grove, ProMed. So really a lot of growth in that med tech world, which is great, brings great jobs to town. A lot of synergy between those companies that are located up here and really what is Medical Alley. I think the Hy-Vee opening was, certainly a highlight. Fernbrook Fields, getting that project done and underway. The concert on the lawn that occurred in September, kind of the first big event over at Central Park, outdoor concert. The work that we're doing on the community center certainly is a focal point in what's to come here in 2020 as we maybe create a vision for renovation and expansion of that facility. And more on the corporate end, the Arbor Lakes Corporate Center over there at the corner of 85th and Zachary, that corner getting cleaned up and being repurposed and brought back into development. And then the city's continuing ability to maintain its AAA bond rating. So a lot of good comments. I think a lot of just growth in progress and positive things that happened in 2019, and everybody's looking forward to what's to come in 2020.
Wonderful, and I'll mention as well, Heidi, too proud to mention it here, they said a lot of thank yous to the staff and to Heidi as well. So
they did, yes.
Certainly appreciate the work of the staff and volunteers in the city too. A lot of volunteers that spend a lot of time doing things on some of the commissions. So hats off to all the people involved in the work of the city. Long consent agenda, again, a lot of the formalities at the beginning of the year. There was one item that was pulled, and that was a member of one of the commissions that is leaving. Yeah,
so Lake Quality Commission, Mike Newman has served for a number of years there. So Councilmember Jager, being the liaison to the Lake Quality Commission, pulled that to recognize his service and thank him for that.
Very good. Thanks for the service. Let's move ahead to special business then. And the one item that was covered was the legislative agenda. So it is that time of the year where you're looking at the Capitol and some of the things that the city might be talking about. And lo and behold, it's a few things you were talking about last year. Give us a little recap of what the talk was and what's coming up this year. Yeah,
so session will start here in the middle of February, and this is the bonding year. Last year was more the budget year. Here we're heading into the bonding year. So our two bonding requests remain the same, one for the completion of 610 and then the other for the expansion of the North Metro Range. So those are kind of our two key items. Over the past few months, we've participated in both the House and Senate bonding tours as well as the state Office of Management and Budget process to get ready for the session. So we've kind of got all of our ducks in a row, hopefully, here heading into February. And so now it really becomes the advocacy work that we need to do as the session gets underway. So those are the two key components. We had another a piece in our legislative agenda dealing with the allocation of lease motor vehicle sales tax to Hennepin County. Currently, Ramsey and Hennepin counties are excluded from that allocation in the 7-county metro. So there's it's really a Hennepin County agenda item that we're
Sure.
supporting to make that allocation to include Hennepin and Ramsey counties. So that's another piece. And then we just have some supporting language around funding pieces for general transportation funding, transit, and economic development. So legislative agenda is available out there in the packet if folks want to take a look at that. And then the second piece here was for our legislative services contract. We work with Ann Lincheski with Lockridge Grindle Nowen. She's been with us now for a couple years, and so this is a continuation of her work at the legislature on our behalf.
All right, sounds like something we'll be talking about over the spring and summer to bring you up to date on that. Community development, a lot going on, and again, this is a little bit of a slower time of the year, but watch out for February. Things are coming. Little update from Joe on some of the bigger projects coming, and those would be Elm Road, Marks Rush Creek, and Project 100. Give us a little idea, quick preview of those three.
Yeah, so Ganya Land Development is leading a single-family project down in the Elm Road area, so this is kind of one of the remaining gravel roads in Maple Grove and areas where we have some larger lot single-family development that would be redeveloped into more urban-style residential single-family. It would involve the reconstruction or construction of Elm Road with to urban standards and with urban services. So that is a project that'll be coming forward to the Planning Commission, City Council in the coming months. Markets at Rush Creek. This is one of the outlots out in front of Hy-Vee. It's a kind of an inline multi-tenant retail building near the gas station out there. End cap with a drive-through. We're anticipating potentially some coffee out there. So if you live out in that neck of the woods, you might have another option. And then Project 100, of course, we've talked about is the land up behind the hospital. So this is really north of kind of where Cambria Suites and Aldi is, up to 610 and then 94 to the west there. It would involve the construction or the completion of Grove Circle, really from that where it leaves off there at Cambria all the way up and creating that loop up to Home Depot. We do anticipate a submittal by the hospital in the coming weeks here, kind of to come alongside of this. But this really provides for the platting subdivision of that land up there and prepares a lot available for that hospital project. And we do anticipate a number of other projects coming along. They'd kind of be more one by one after this. So a mix of uses up there, more medical office, some opportunities for some larger maybe office warehouse type uses up along the corridor, that hard corner up at 610-94 where we'd love to have a large corporate office site up there, and then some residential uses sprinkled in there as well. So this is a big project, and this one will be in front of the council in February.
Very exciting things to come. You mentioned in some of the council comments, someone mentioned ProMed and the medical alley. Let's talk a little bit more about ProMed. They said that is something that might be coming, and that's to that Wedgwood area, which really is taking some nice redevelopment, if you will, there.
It is. So we had Abbott take the old Hartford building there, and they are in the process of they're remodeling that building, kind of renovating the interior of that building to move in there. So that's a great addition to Maple Grove. And then there is a site, a buildable site just to the south of that ProMed is. We're anticipating a submittal from them in the coming weeks here on that site.
Another item from the community development area, we've mentioned the comp plan many times during the last year. I think it's been the last 2 years. Almost at the finish line?
Yes.
The comp plan is going to be there.
Comp plan is going to be there. We Met Council provided their final blessing is coming up here, and then it does have to come back to the City Council just one more time.
All right, grand openings happening all the time in the city, so keep watch on what things might happening there. Planning Commission, there is an opening there. Tell us a little bit about the Planning Commission, again, the base work there and the need for someone. Yeah,
so we have a vacancy that's open through January 13th. Planning Commission is really a valuable commission that serves for the council. They see all of the development projects kind of come through at the first glance at those, and they get the opportunity to kind of weigh in and provide guidance to the developers and feedback, and then their recommendations go on to the City Council. So it's a really important role. They have some statutory authority, so it's a pretty important role for the city. And so great way to get involved with the community. If you're thinking about, we always think about the Planning Commission position as kind of a precursor to running for city council.
Sure.
Because it's great training to kind of understand how the development business works, how that process plays out at the city. And so, yeah, vacancy on the Planning Commission. And they do meet twice a month, so it is a little bit of a commitment, but they do meet when they need to. So, for instance, over the last few weeks, we haven't had meetings, or the last few months, actually, or month and a half, I suppose, because we haven't had a lot of development applications coming through the process. And so now that's really starting to pick up as we head into the spring construction season of 2020, so it'll get a lot more busy. But yeah, two meetings a month, and can be some pretty full agendas, but it's really important work. So if you're interested in getting involved, the application materials are available on our website.
Very good, and I'm sure people could call you if they had more questions about
sure.
that process. Public Works City Engineer update. The one update was a little bit about funding for transportation. We talk about the projects being done on occasion, but there's funding work that happens all of the time. And this is a little bit of a further look into funding and how it happens. Give us a little background on what the discussion might be coming up.
Yeah, so we have submitted to two different programs, one at the federal level and one at the state level of recent for the 610 completion project. The federal one was the federal build grant program that we submitted to, and no programs or projects in the state of Minnesota were funded, so that was disappointing. And our federal delegation did kind of send off a letter to the Secretary of Transportation to inquire as to why Minnesota was overlooked in that process, because there are some states that did receive multiple, funding for multiple projects, depending on where it was. So we're waiting. There's a debriefing on that process coming up here in January that will have the opportunity to be a part of, and so we're looking forward to learning more about that. And then recently the Transportation Economic Development Program released their funding awards, and we had applied for that and we were not successful in that, so we'll be pursuing that as well. So sometimes some of these projects just need to move through the pipeline, and then there creates space and room for the projects that were scored right underneath that to be funded. So hopefully in the next round of funding we'll work hard to support that through the legislative processes to get some of those programs funded so that there's dollars available to compete for. So we always like to follow up, though, to understand how could we have done better or what affected our scoring, because we do think we have a competitive project, and so we want to always do better.
All right, more to come on that. Final note from the meeting on the 6th, you had a quick update. Again, it's the season for legislature. What are some of the meetings that are coming up? Yes,
we have a lot of legislative breakfasts coming up where all of our legislators from the area are invited in, and depending on the organization, they get to hear kind of what the legislative platform is or what the issues are that they're focused on in the coming year. So on January 17th, it's the Municipal Legislative Commission will be meeting in Plymouth, and then the Housing for All legislative breakfast will be January 28th at St. Joseph the Worker.
And it being an election year, there'll probably be a lot of excitement around those discussions as well. Very good. So that's the meeting from the 6th. Again, lasted about 40 minutes. So that is your update. Next meeting comes up on the 21st, which is the first note we have from things around the city. It's on the 21st because of holiday. Tell us about city offices on the 20th.
Yeah, city offices will be closed on Monday, January 20th in observance of the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. holiday.
All right. Photo people, if you've been out there getting photos of some of the winter fun going on, keep those photos because there's a contest. How does that work?
Photo contest opens in June, or June 1, and so we take all the submittals from folks in the community for pictures that they've taken throughout the year, and there's different categories that you can submit. We go through a judging process, and there's actually awards given out, and then we use all those pictures in our various publications, social media, those kinds of things, and so you have an opportunity to see your artwork on display here at the city. So we really encourage people to think about it when they're out and about in the winter, particularly at a city park or out skating or at the Polar Plunge, those kinds of things, because those make great additions for the photo contest.
Very good. All right, get out there and get shooting. We mentioned some of the state of the city information that was passed along at the January 6th meeting, but here's your opportunity as a public to hear some of this from the mayor. This is coming up in the month of February. Tell us how this event works.
Yeah, so this is our second annual kind of our own State of the City event, State of the City address. Friday morning, February 28th at 7:30 a.m. at the Community Center. So we have the mayor will be providing kind of a State of the City address, a conversation information about some of the things that have happened in 2019 and what we're looking forward to in 2020. We'll also have the both of our chambers will be present, the I-94 West Chamber and the Twin West Chamber. And then, of course, we partner with the Twin West Chamber on their workforce initiative, Elevate Futures. And so they will be there to provide an update and provide a little bit more information about how our business community, via the city's partnership, can participate in that workforce initiative. So registration for the State of the City address opens on January 17th. That'll be available through an Eventbrite system on our website. So if you have an interest, we welcome you to come on out for that morning at the community center.
So need to register, but
Yes.
as I recall, is it a free event?
It is a free event.
It is a free event,
Yep.
so make sure you get signed up for that. Let's talk car seats for a minute. You have people in the city that would like to make sure the young ones are safe.
Yes.
What are they doing?
So Maple Grove Police and Fire will be hosting a car seat clinic on Tuesday, January 14th from 4 to 7 p.m. And this is going to be at Fire Station 2. It's right off of Maple Knoll Way there, just north of Elm Creek Boulevard, or just north on Elm Creek Boulevard, north of Weaver Lake. The event is free, but we do ask that you make an appointment because it takes about 30 to 45 minutes per car, per child, per car seat type of thing. They
Okay.
really do take the time to kind of,
Yeah.
take your car seat out, take a look at the, the things in the car, make sure things are correct with the car seat, and then get it installed correctly, and then work with you to make sure that your child, particularly the real little ones, are being restrained properly in that car seat. So if you can call 581-3740 to schedule an appointment, or just give a call up to the police department general number, and they can help you out as well.
All right, great opportunity for people within the city. Let's talk recreational burns. Maybe you don't think so much about them at this time of the year, but now is time to think a little bit about this process.
Yep.
Why is it important now?
Yeah, so this is just a reminder that we do have guidelines in place for recreational fires, and we do require a permit for those. So this is just your standard kind of backyard fire, and they are offered free of charge. So really, our goal in this is to provide education and let people know kind of what the guidelines are, so that we don't run into issues between neighbors or fires getting out of control kind of thing. So the permits expire every year on December 31, so we just ask that you go online, get that permit, and get the updated information about the guidelines.
Easy enough. Very good. Let's talk job openings in the city of Maple Grove. Listen up for a minute here. You might want to get the pencil out. There's a number of things happening within the city.
Yeah.
Give us the laundry list here.
Yeah, so in Public Works, we have an asset management specialist, and so this kind of a unique position provides oversight and coordination within the Public Works Department for asset management, GIS, and mapping programs. So, and we utilize a program called Cartograph. So it's a kind of a GIS-based system that really maps all of our assets throughout the city, and then we can track when there's issues there, when maintenance needs to be done, any calls for concerns on those properties, and it really helps us organize our work and track kind of the age and health of our assets.
Very
so
interesting.
that position will work on those types of things.
Okay.
And then in Parks and Recreation, we're hiring a recreation summer student intern. So this is a great opportunity to work in the recreation department during the summer. And one of the things that I think we see with this position is that we have a lot of folks that now work full-time for the city in Parks and Recreation that started with the city in this role.
Great foot in the door.
It is a great foot in the door, and it's a great experience. We have a lot of things going on in the summertime, but there's always opportunities in Parks and Recreation. And so if you're thinking about getting into that field, you're in that field of study, this is a great opportunity.
Excellent.
And then in the assessing department, we have an appraiser position open. This one goes out primarily on the residential side, appraising residential properties for our annual assessment.
Okay.
And then that position's open through Monday, January 20th at 4:30 p.m. All those positions are posted on our website through the NeoGov app.
All right, look for those. Couple famous wintertime events coming up here that you might want to get on your calendar as well. And if you like to jump in freezing water, here's your event, the Polar Plunge.
Yes.
When and where this year?
Yeah, so Saturday, February 1, we're back out at Fish Lake Park in Maple Grove. This is the 13th year for this event.
Great.
This is supporting Minnesota Special Olympics. So a lot of our police department really supports this event. A lot of our officers get out and participate in that. Councilmember Judy Hansen has even been known to
Good
jump
for
in the
her.
lake. So we had almost 600 participants last year.
That's
and then
fantastic.
currently we have about 200 plungers signed up. So information available at Plunge Minnesota, or plungemn.org.
Got it. Very
Yep.
good event. All right. And if you're not into the water, that's okay. We've got another one for you here
Yeah.
that you say out of the water.
Yes.
Wonders of Winter. What is
Yeah.
coming up this year?
Yeah, so this is the event we started right around, it was held the weekend of the Super Bowl
Yeah.
a couple years ago. So
Yep.
Saturday, February 8th from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. at Central Park. And this is just kind of an opportunity to get out and celebrate the outdoors during the winter time. So we have, of course, the skating loop is open, all kinds of things there. We have the Maple Grove Skating School has come out and done a show. We have ice sculpture, Fat Tire Bike Demo is there.
Fun.
Three Rivers Park District is there with their kick sledding, snowshoeing, Nordic walking. The Lions Club supports the wagon rides that day. They're out there. And then we have some local businesses providing s'mores and hot cocoa. So
Oh,
it's
very
really
fun.
a fun
Yeah.
day in the park to get the kids outside from 11 to 3, Central Park, Saturday, February 8th.
All right, and you mentioned the ice and
Yes.
Central Park. Let's talk skating for a little bit here.
Yep.
There's an important phone number people should remember because
Yes.
it's been a little bit of an interesting winter. So
has
you
been.
might want to check ahead about the ice. How do we do that?
Yeah, so there's we have a weather hotline
Good.
that talks about, whether the skating loop is open, what's happening with our traditional outdoor rinks, 494-5959, and that number is available on our website
Yeah.
as well. But Central Park, I think, has been doing pretty well, staying open. It's been warmer, so it's been very busy. So you can get skate rentals, concessions there, fireplace inside and out to
Yeah.
warm up.
Very nice.
And then our neighborhood rinks, I think they're doing okay, but I would give a call to that hotline just to make sure, what's going on those outdoor rinks from day to day.
All right, final note about getting some exercise in the winter would be the Sports Dome. People can always head there to do some walking. When and how do we do that?
Yeah, so walking track is available Monday through Friday from 7:30 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. That's a change.
Yeah.
We got some additional hours available to the public there.
Great.
And then from 5:30 p.m. to 9 p.m. as well as Saturdays 8 a.m. to 9 and Saturdays 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. So that information about those hours is available on our website as well, so you can check on that there.
Yeah, a fun place to go and
Yep.
spend some time walking and a little bit warmer. And it's not 70
Yes.
and sunny, but at least
No.
it's 50 and
55.
not snowing.
55 and not snowing.
All right, 55. Heidi knows from being there. Heidi, thank you very much for
You're
the
welcome.
information. Glad you could be with us again. Let's leave you with that next council meeting date. And as we said, it's going to be on that Tuesday, January 21st, 7:30 at the Government Center. Phone number at the bottom of the screen. A lot of job openings we mentioned and other things that you want to go to the website, maplegrovemn.gov, to find out more. Viewer response line, 533-1710. Questions or comments about the program, shoot them there. For Heidi Nelson, I'm Dave Kaiser. Thanks once again for joining us.